Research Log 3. The construction and preparation of the main power generator for the facility has now concluded. This, in theory, should produce enough energy to power this lab indefinitely. For as long as there is no problem in sight, I can ensure the continuation of our research. What do you think, new researcher?
That, I must say, is rather impressive, Doctor. Although I must question, where does this power come from? Is it a nuclear reactor? If so, is it fission or fusion?
Tell me, researcher, do you know why we built this facility here underneath such an unassuming property?
No, I'm not quite sure, sir. How does this relate to my question?
Because you see, researcher, we chose this location for a reason. While we were surveying for a suitable location to expand, we detected an anomalous yet rather powerful signature upon this land that appears to exude energy. It even has traces that seem ancient in origin, unlike anything we've seen before.
I still don't see how this answers my question, Doctor.
Well, you see, this reactor isn't much of one at all, researcher. Think of it more as an extractor of sorts. And you see, the reason that this machine was designed is to extract this unknown energy and transform it into electricity. The method in which it does so, I'm still uncertain, because we discovered this way of harnessing this energy by accident during construction of the main facility, when a worker used an angle grinder and blew the generator after the angle grinder had started to produce light when certain conditions were met. The conditions being, it requires rather decent rotational speed and a sufficient but sudden burst of a certain amount of energy, we believe dependent on scale. And through further tests, I have concluded its safety. Thus, this extractor was born.
I am in awe, Doctor. I'm sure you didn't expect to find the key to unlocking this power so soon. I look forward to see what we can discover with such power.
That I am too. Anyway, welcome to the showcase part of the video. I hope you enjoyed the lore segment, as I put quite a bit of effort into that one. It tells a bit of the story from a bit earlier on. Alright, if we come into the electrical sector of the facility, we find the power storage room, which doesn't exist, and we have the server room, which doesn't exist because I haven't worked on it. But here we have the reactor. Ignore the spider. Don't you make a noise again. Shush. Shut up. It's an elevator. And if you hop on in, it'll take you down to the main control room. Seamless teleportation. I'm pretty happy with that. I've been doing it for a while now, but it never gets old. Okay, so welcome to the main reactor room. Let me turn on the lights. I made this main center rig with a lot of block displays, and I just made the model once I grouped it together with Axiom. I made the model ride on an armor stand, and now if the armor stand rotates, the model rotates, so I can make it do things like this. Let me start the sequence. Okay. So now that the reactor is up to speed, we can go up here and prepare the surge of energy to initiate the extraction, which sends a pulse up to turn on all these lights. Let me turn off these two other lights now that there is other lights here. And now I can activate ignition. And now it proceeds to siphon the surrounding energy. I'll get into the source of that mysterious energy in a future video, as it all connects. No, I'm pretty happy with the looks. It's like a cone that leads into a diamond, and it just spirals into the center, which is pretty neat. Pretty happy with its overall looks. I like the layered look of this whole thing. Sound effects are based in the control room, so it only really plays it when I'm standing in there. So if I come over here, yep. There's a bunch of layers to the sound effects. It's, of course, a beacon, but then I also have like a subtle low tone hum, so I move away from the beacon sounds. There's a really low rumble. It's not even audible on the video. Or at least very barely, like it's barely audible. But if in a headphoned experience, in this room like this, it's, yeah, it adds that extra little bit of strength. Anyway, I can now shut this down. Let me deactivate the reactor. It's rather sudden. Turns off all the lights, so let me turn on these lights again. And it asks me to decelerate the reactor. And I can do so by flicking this lever again. And I added a system to, well, a little thing to make it detect when the armor stand is actually facing towards one of the 4 sides, the center of one of the 4 sides, and if it detects that it is, it just stops it to make it sure it's aligned. And yeah, I gotta explain this. Well, I probably don't need to, but the screen itself is made out of a bunch of different, if I turn on this option here, made out of a bunch of, I can speak, a bunch of different entities. There's a different entity for pretty much everywhere where there would be a bit of text. So if I accelerate the reactor, this one is its own, and like, no, everything like this, and yeah. This one is that one. This one here has a use. I just can't think of it right now for some reason. Alright, I think it's the timer. Oh yeah, it also does move to compensate for the movement and changing of the actual, yeah, size of the, yeah, that's the countdown. It's been a while since I made this. A couple months, but my brain's not gonna remember everything. And yeah. Bunch of different particle effects. Yeah. Pretty cool. And yeah, I can, if I want to do it quickly, I can go into the command block area where you can see the sequence. This is the accelerating part of the reactor. It can also go in reverse for the deceleration. Yeah, it just changes the text. It does the sounds. And it also, wait, sorry. Where is it? Oh, no, that was a previous version of this. And then it also, through this repeating command block down here, does the rotation at different speed. So it starts off with 1.5 and it just adds these speeds together. So it adds the speed onto the previous ones as well. And this is just done through pistons. So that way, you know, it deactivates this one, blah, blah, blah. They need to go into detail. And then in here we have the actual sequence, like, so it just, this is what prevents you from pressing the activate ignition all the way at the start, just turning it on. It kind of requires the previous step to be completed first before it powers this one, allowing you to go into the next step. So on and so forth. Then this is the other, this is the countdown to the actual ignition. And then this is the particle effects. So there are 4 sides to this, and that handles the 4 sides of the main core piece or model. So it force shutdown, which does the fast, it's a fast shutdown. Yeah, it does decelerate the reactor rather slowly still, but yeah, so each pillar of command blocks there handles one side, and then the thing in the middle just handles any other excess particles. The 2 in the middle. These do some extra sound effects, and then yeah. Pretty neat. This is just handles the lights. It's a really easy toggle. When I show you'll find this everywhere. This sort of thing is found in the SCP lab everywhere. Part of the reason I think it lags so much. Yeah, this is the elevator. Has just the sequence of the door, the pause for the sound. So with this sound of the beacon activate past, like, has enough time to really make it sound like you're moving, and then once it's done, it teleports the player. Oops. And just does some things to reset it or get it ready for the next time. And as well as playing the other sound. Cool. I think the server lagged a bit just then. So it did skip the 4-side thing, unfortunately. It is unfortunately a side effect of it being really laggy. So after... Oh, it's a pretty neat system. pretty happy with it. Of course, I think I could still improve, but I don't think it's too bad. Yeah. This handles the, this armor stand here. Charges the ignition. It's what handles the lights turning on and particle effects. And it just gets levitation applied to it, and it goes up, and then stops there. Does the same in reverse. Slow fall instead. Yep. Pretty good, I'd say. Anyway, thank you for coming along for this tour, and I'll see you in the next video, which... Okay. I hope to make something related to something I talked about a little in the lab tour that deserves a little bit more explanation. And after that we'll finally get to something that isn't just this, and is the surrounding area, because I've actually done quite a lot that isn't just the underground lab. There's quite a bit to discover. Okay. Cheers. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.